Boeing has issued a public apology for two crashes involving the same aircraft model within the last 6 months, which claimed a total of 346 lives.
We at Boeing are sorry for the lives lost in the recent 737 MAX accidents. The history of our industry shows most accidents are caused by a chain of events. This again is the case here.
Dennis Muilenburg went on to say that the Ethiopian Airlines incident in March and the Indonesian crash in October were both caused by the same technical malfunction. The disasters involved a Boeing 737 MAX, which is an anti-stalling feature called the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System. The CEO explained that in both cases, that system had reacted to incorrect data, causing the noses of the plane to be forced down when the pilots were trying to gain altitude. Now, the Ethiopian Airlines jet was travelling from Addis Ababa to Nairobi. There was 147 people on board from 35 countries. The pilots had reported difficulties with the aircraft and were granted a return to the airport. They were unable, though, to regain control. According to a preliminary report from the Ethiopian authorities, the pilots followed Boeing's guidelines. We can now cross live to Jacques Astre, aviation security expert. Thanks for joining us. Good to have you on the programme today. Obviously, the apologies have come today from the Boeing CEO. He said he's sorry for the lives lost, but the company does remain confident in the fundamental safety of that particular model. How confident do you think passengers will be? Do you think there's going to be a reluctance now for people to get on that plane?
No, I don't. Unfortunately, this is not a new phenomenon. There are past accidents that have taken place for almost the same reason, different technology. And while those airplanes survived the reputation that was caused by the accidents, so will Boeing 737 MAX. The issue is fundamentally due to the, according to the news reports, the angle of attack sensor. As the case, there are previous accidents that had that resulted in the same type of accident, and the airplanes, one being the Lockheed L-1011 and the other being an Airbus A310, both survived the repercussions of the accidents. The issue right now is if, in fact, it's the angle of attack sensor, it raises the issue that that is apparently a common cause of several accidents, not just the 737 MAX. So if fix is to replace those sensors and with sensors that are more reliable, then unfortunately it's the sensor, not actually the aircraft, that's the problem.
A lot of crashes are obviously caused by human error, by pilot error, but according to the preliminary reports, at least, the crew had performed all the procedures repeatedly provided by Boeing, but was still not able to get control of the aircraft. Does this make matters worse for Boeing?
No, not necessarily, because what we don't know is if, in fact, the procedures were followed and carried out completely to the fullest extent. From the information that I've heard, and again, these are from news reports, that in fact the system was turned off and then turned back on again, raises some serious questions. The area we don't know is, were previous reports considering the same issue, did it happen to the same airplane prior to the accident? And that's another piece of information we need to know about. In the case of Lion Air, we know that there were 3 previous incidents that occurred before the accident took place. And we also know that the crews reacted to the same problem prior to the accident that took place. The question I have right now is, was there a repeat problem that took place with the crash? And then my next question is, did in fact the crew carry out the maneuvers to the fullest extent that needed to be taken, or did they do something in the interim that allowed the system to continue the problem until the airplane crashed? And that's my question. And I asked that question not as a in any type of journalistic fashion. My question is from a accident investigator perspective.
Indeed, and hopefully more detailed reports will come out in future which will give us an insight into the reasons exactly behind that crash. Jacques Astre, aviation security expert, thanks for your time today here on RT International.